And then I have to remind myself that all the great artists that I've studied their DVDs or heard speak basically say if it looks right when it's going on, it's probably wrong, and if it looks wrong when it's going on, it's probably right. And I have to keep consoling myself that because it doesn't look right, it's probably going to work out okay. So moving along. The next step, I've gone in and put this shadow in the back here again. I was very concerned about the colours. So I thought, well, if I drop that shadow in, possibly that will help, delineate that this building's in the background here. So I put this shadow in, which is, fairly heavy mix of ultramarine and burnt umber, and possibly with a little bit of neutral tint in there as well. I've used alizarin crimson dulled down for the back umbrella, and probably cad red and alizarin crimson mixed in together there, and a greeny mix there, which is probably cad yellow and ultramarine, and a bit of muck off the palette. To be honest, I don't tend to clean my palette that much. Started to put a little bit of detail on this back wall and in the steps and so on. Gone in more with the shadow here, just it wasn't quite feeling right, and I mucked around with this shadow quite a bit, and didn't ever at this stage really feel like it was going to come together and work that well. Put some detail into the pavement area here as well with some of these lines to make it look like paving blocks and so on. Then started to put the shadow underneath the awning here. Started to put in some of the figures. Started to try and put this guy in, but he was a bit square on. Looks a bit robotic there. So I wasn't thrilled with how that was going, and knew that I need to come back and work on him. Got the main character in. I always like to have one or two central people who are the main focus, and often we talk in paintings about having a focal point. Well, I don't necessarily, for me the focal point is the people and what they're doing, and what I've tried to create with this picture is notice how all these people are walking around the corner here. I've tried to create this feeling that everyone was walking in this direction towards this corner here, and to create a bit of intrigue and mystery. What are they doing? Why are they going around the corner there? And so all of the characters in this particular painting are facing towards that corner, and I like that. I like that mystery about a painting, and gets the viewer thinking about what is going on here, rather than just an obvious scene. Why they are walking around the corner. That's the sort of life I want to put into the pictures. And then I've started to cut into this building with some of the windows. A bit of a perspective problem. I need to keep working on that, but trying to keep it loose and not too. I'm not trying to make an architectural study here. I'm more of an impression, which is what I love. So keeping it as loose as possible, but I need to be mindful about perspective in the future. Okay, so taking another step, I've put in these little block barriers, those little barriers you have around cafe settings and so on. Done these two characters over here who are obviously having a conversation of some description. Started to put into there's some of these windows in this back building, blocking in those and preserving some whites. And in the past I haven't been that great at that, so I was really pleased with the way I was able to preserve the whites in the windows, and particularly down this building, on the edge of this corner, just catching the sunlight there. I was really happy with the way I was able just to keep that. And I know it sounds like a little thing, but those little victories all add up over time. And I think every time you do a painting, you should have a goal like that, to just get this one bit right, where I haven't been able to get right in the past. And in particular, what I particularly liked about this painting was this window, where it's sort of like the blind was half down, but there's light behind it, so there's something happening inside the room there. So it's just improving those little things each time. I think is so important. So I was quite happy with a few of those little details and little incremental improvements. I think really make a painting. Okay, so obviously I've progressed quite a bit further here. I've got more, more characters. I've sort of painted those in, not coloured them in. This character over here, I sort of didn't want this person to stand out too much, so I sort of tried to blur this area. Maybe need to work on that for the future, because it didn't quite work out the way I'd like, but just tried to create a sense that there's something happening here, but I don't want the eye drawn there. I want it to be drawn over here. So that's what I've tried to just blur that out, and I need to work on my technique for doing that. This person in the shadow here, I was really happy with the way I redid them. Remember how they were a bit sort of square on before? Wasn't happy with that. So I managed to get them sort of facing in the direction where I want everyone to be going. Put another key character here. So these two are really the centre of influence and where they're heading. Got some people looking into the shop window there, people around the cafe scenes and so on. Details into the window, so I put in some shutters and some little balconies and things. And then one of the things I love about these sort of settings is the little bit of little details, like the fluorescent signs saying hotel and no vacancy, and little street signs, and these are meant to be like billboard posters and restaurant signs and public bar and things like that. Just those little details that bring a scene to life, rather than just walls of buildings. Try and create a bit of atmosphere and a scene. Just reminds me of my trips to Italy and the piazzas I've been to, and the magic of things happening there. And that's what I tried to create there, with just these little touches that really bring a painting to life, I think. And so this is the end result. Letting it dry, and as I said before, I think a painting, watercolour in particular, keeps painting itself until it's fully dried. So a couple of days later, took this photo. Now there's a bit of shadow from me. I have to work on my photography in this area here, as you can see. But overall, I think there's a really nice feel to this painting. It's one of my favourites that I've done so far, even though there's still things to improve. But I like the contrast between the cast shadow from the building and the light from the sun in the piazza, and the warmth in the buildings, and the mystery of where everyone's going. So I was really quite happy with this one. I'd say it's one of my favourites that I've done so far. Might be one that I might get framed and keep for my own private collection. But yeah, that's just a bit of an outline of the process that I go through, and constantly trying to improve those little things, and getting better and better at the controlling of the water to pigment ratio. So there's so much to learn in watercolour, which is why it's such a fantastic medium. There's a magic about it, and if you're watching this, then I'm sure you'd agree. So I hope it's been of help. If you want to find out more and see more trainings like this, then please drop by my blog, www.watercolorsuccess.com, and you can spell watercolour either the US way or the English way. Both will end up in the same place. And when you do drop by the blog, if you want to keep in contact with us, and be notified when more trainings like this come out, just enter yourself into our prize draw for a watercolour painting. What I'm going to do is each month give away one of my watercolour paintings on a prize draw from everyone who's registered, and by doing that you'll also be kept in the loop with my progress and future videos like this. So my name's Rod Moore, thanks very much for watching, and I hope to see you over at watercolorsuccess.com. Cheers.